In today's video, we're going to be checking out the Diamond Select release of Kingdom Hearts Mickey, Axel, and Shadow. Before we have a look at the figures and the accessories, let's get some measurements going. Mickey Mouse, counting his ears, is about 4 inches in height. Shadow is about closer to 3.5 inches. And Axel, of course, being the taller of the three, stands at 7.5 inches in height. The set gets a couple of accessories, more importantly ones for Mickey and Axel. Axel comes with the chakram, or bladed discs, and has some really nice silver and gold, silver and red, I should say, added to the blades themselves. The blades are a little on the warp side, just by the nature of the way that they were packaged in the clamshell. But to have Axel holding them, just simply clip the handle portion into the hands of Axel, and the figure can display them very easy, actually. Then as well, you get yourself the Star Seeker, which looks awesome. I think they've done a really good job on it. The lower part of the Star Seeker has a plastic chain and crescent moon on the bottom, and as you can see, it's been connected by actual metal ringlets that have been connected to the bottom and to the top portion there. It's got some nice transitioning airbrushing from the more yellow portion of it to a whiter to then a bluer color scheme, and it's got some really nice purples and lighter violets added to it as well. It looks really good. I think they've done a good job on the Star Seeker here, and it can fit very easily into Mickey Mouse's hand, just like so. You have to kind of get it above or under the one star and above the other star, and he holds it perfectly fine. I would have thought that him holding the weapon would have made him a little top heavy, but actually he stands perfectly fine. So those are your accessories. Maybe what we'll do is we'll look at the character that doesn't get any accessories, and then we'll kind of work our way across. Here we have Shadow, a good representation of how Shadow appears in the Kingdom Hearts game. It doesn't have much in the way of posability, I have to admit. In fact, by little, it has none. It has no posability. I thought actually that the head would have swiveled. Maybe a little bit. Not by much, though. The arms do not swivel. They don't have any posability to them. Basically, he's more staction than he is a posable figure, which is perfectly fine. Judging by the spindly arms and legs on this character, I don't know if I would really want to have posability on it, to be honest, as it would make for possibly a more fragile figure. Of course, you could have a cut here on the legs, maybe a cut swivel on the arms, but again, for the purpose that it serves, I'm actually okay with that. It's very similar to Soldier. I don't really need a lot of posability with the smaller characters, the smaller tier characters, when it comes to these 3-figure releases. You know what? Let's have a look at Mickey. I really like the look of Mickey here. Go ahead and take the Star Seeker out of his hand. There we go. And we'll just put it to the side. Mickey Mouse is adorned in color here. Reds, oranges, some yellows there as well. He really is a nice looking figure. I actually think I would have preferred maybe a more, not serious look on Mickey Mouse's face, but something a little bit more. Not that his mouth had to be completely open like this. I think just for the nature of the way that I would want to pose the figure, you know, with the Star Seeker, and I think a more sterner Mickey might have actually worked a little bit more, or closed mouth Mickey, but still looks quite good. Face sculpt is really spot on when it comes to Mickey Mouse. The back of it there. It's so really neat to see a Mickey Mouse release coming from like a Diamond Select line. Because I don't think they've actually covered any Disney stuff. Well, they have covered, of course, Nightmare Before Christmas, which I think is still I believe it's now still under the Disney banner. But really got some good coloring going here. And surprisingly, he was a lot more posable than I was actually expecting as well. There's the back of him there. Paint pretty much is good on him. Little areas here and there, but nothing too drastic. Posability on this guy, though. His head is on a ball joint, which is a nice treat. Universal joints on the arms. They move back and forth and out. He has a rotation also in the forearm, and he has a rotation in the hand. No waist swivel from what I can see, but he does have a fairly, very flexible ball joint going in the top areas of his legs. Has a lower, kind of a lower swivel there going in the legs, and then he's also got like a little ball joint on his feet. Very giant mouse feet, peg holes on the undersides of his feet. He doesn't come with a display stand, but Mickey Mouse really doesn't actually need it. He stands perfectly fine, despite the fact that his feet aren't 100% flat. They're a little bit more on a curved side, but he still actually stands quite well. He teeters a little bit, but he stands perfectly fine. Let's have a look at Axel here. We'll go ahead and take the chakrams out of the hand. And once again, really a fantastic looking figure. I love the dark shading that has been incorporated into the root areas of the hair. As you can see, it gets a little darker and almost like a brown color scheme, and then jets out into a more, kind of a more coppery orange color. Really good head sculpt though. The face, I think, is quite good. Making use of, instead of a dark black, which I'm glad they went the route of giving a more darker flesh tone as like the areas that outline around the eyes, the eyebrows. I think that's a smarter route to go than giving it a very stark black. It keeps the colors soft on the character's face, which I think works rather well. Little bit of paint just on the sides there, just a little bit on the top. Other than that though, paint's pretty good on Axel. A very rigid, sturdy plastic making up basically the top portion all the way down to the feet. So as you could probably guess it, there's very little posability happening from here down to here. Still has adequate amounts in the arms. I'll talk about that in a second, but really some nice dark, really like the dark coloring of the plastic here on the hood, as well as generally a very clean looking figure. Sometimes when you get black figures, this is very apparent. You'll start getting like little, not scratches or nicks, but basically where something has rubbed against the plastic. So of course that's going to be there. But otherwise that, it's a very clean application done to the entire like long coat that Axel is sporting. Zipper running up, down, up in the middle, I should say, from down to up. And you've got little silver accents there as well. Primarily, mostly a black costumed figure, but it does such a good job of offsetting that by a really nice paint on the head sculpt. The head sculpt is so good, as well as you added such a good paint scheme to it, that it really complements an otherwise very dark, complex character. Posability on Axel here. Universal joints on the arms, so they rotate all the way around and out. A swivel on the bicep. Cut hinge on the elbow. And a rotation in the hand. This is where it gets a little trickier because there's really not a whole lot you can do. Because this is such dense plastic, there's very little, again, that you can do with the legs. In fact, if I look at the legs, I don't know if they are really even that posable at all to start off with. But you do still have posability in the feet, and for those that like ankle rockers, the feet also rock back and forth as well. Peg holes are provided on the undersides of the feet. Although Axel stands perfectly fine, doesn't really need a display stand. One thing I do have to mention is that all three figures, much like the figures that we looked at before, all stand perfectly fine. I have absolutely no issues with it. Mickey, I thought, might have been more of a problem because he doesn't have, like I said, a very flat footing, but he stands perfectly fine. I don't really have any issues with him at all. Just to move these accessories over, and we'll just kind of move these figures back, let's have a look at this Series 1 other set that we were looking at before. Move Mickey right over, for example, and move Shadow over. So there we have Axel, and there's Sora, right there. And then of the smaller tier characters, you had the Soldier along with Shadow. And this one is a little bit more of a height difference, but then you had Dusk and Mickey. I like the formula that they're going with, in which you get a primary large figure, you got like a medium-sized character, although, of course, Dusk compared to Mickey, there's quite a considerable height difference, and then you have a smaller tier character, or kind of a more than non-posable figures, which I think perfectly works quite well. The price of entry, I think, is for obviously the main primary characters, and then really you get the benefit of getting all these extra characters as well. So really, by reviewing just 2 sets, I've already got myself 6 figures. This is, I think, the way to go. And actually, this is one thing that they're doing a lot with the Muppets figures as well. You generally get a larger primary figure, and then you kind of get these smaller tiered characters, little smaller versions of the characters along with them as well. So very quickly, you can build yourself up a considerable collection. As I had mentioned in the review of Sword, Dusk, and Soldier, this is obviously Series 1, so Diamond Select probably have already in mind what they're going to be releasing for Series 2. With the hint now of Mickey, I can only hope that with a Series 2 or possibly Series 3, we're going to be getting some more Disney characters such as the Goofy and Donald Duck. Really excited for that. But again, like, you really get a bang for your buck, I think, for this release of these figures. You get the larger figure, and then you've got 2 side characters that can fill out your collection shelf. The accessories are a nice touch, and overall, I think the sculpts on all 3 figures, even right down to Shadow. Shadow didn't really have a lot of posability. In fact, he had no posability other than really the head. I think these are really great looking figures. They look good on a shelf, and for any Kingdom Hearts fans, you definitely will want to be adding these to your collection. The Kingdom Hearts from Diamond Select should be now available in comic book stores. If you can't find a comic book store, that's fine. Head over to www.comicshoplocator.com, put in all your requirements, and bazinga, you'll get yourself your location of comic book store near your area. Definitely would highly recommend picking these figures up. Good job from the folks over at Diamond Select. Can't wait to see what they've got lined up for Series 2. Today we're having a look at the Diamond Select. This was the Kingdom Hearts, and this was Series 1, Mickey, Axel, and Shadow. If you guys haven't had a chance yet to subscribe to this channel, we are en route to hit that 200,000 subscriber mark. Hit that little subscribe button down below. Don't forget to share and like this video with friends. And of course, more videos will be heading your way soon. Thanks for watching as you always do, guys. See you next time.